I'm here with Alex and Joe. United have beaten Selhurst Park. Let me start again.
We have beaten Selhurst.
Well, let's not start again. United have beaten Crystal Palace 2-0. We're out here having a good time, as always, outside as we do. What do you make of that, Al?
It was nervy a lot of the game. What's this? Paddock. Nervy for a lot of the game, but quality goals, bit of luck with VAR, and take it.
You think it was a bit of luck?
I think with the penalty more than the offside. The offside is the offside. I don't think you can't argue.
Are you telling me it was a penalty?
I'd give it. I think we'd have been stood it. I think if we'd have been stood it with it being the other way around, we'd have been screaming it was a penalty. So
I think, like I said, if that's a kick on Martial, and obviously you're going to be a bit biased.
Kick the ball though, right?
I think if you look at the replay, his shin is making contact with, is it Ayew?
It's Lindelof on Ayew for those at home that are trying.
His shin is making contact with Ayew's, the back of Ayew's leg at the same time it's making contact with the ball, and I think it barely touches the ball and it makes a lot of contact with the leg. But I'm happy it didn't get given, obviously.
You don't look too happy over there. Probably supports Palace. Rashford and Marshall getting more goals, 22 apiece now. It's like one of them can't score without the other one scoring. It's like, you're not allowed to do that without me scoring.
It's almost like when they were coming off the bench, they were swapping, started coming off, and one was four on the left side coming in. But it's good, we've said, we've had so many seasons where you've been relying on one person to score all the goals. You've been relying on Zlatan, relying on Lukaku, even relying on Rooney and Van Persie still. And now we've got a couple of lads that can score goals. We've got a front three that can score goals. Makes things a lot easier. Makes today a lot easier, because otherwise it's a scrappy game. If
it wasn't easy today though, was it? It was a bit squeaky, innit? Does that worry you, or do you just think it's the time of year? It's going to be like that.
It's the end of the season. It's
weather,
it's this weather, yeah. No, it's cup final time almost, isn't it? And it's these games are going to be like this. There's obviously nerves. Teams with nothing to play for. I think it'll be interesting to see how we play against a team that has got something in Chelsea at the weekend. But I can't say I'm confident, but it's good. We needed that result today.
Are you surprised we only made 2 subs with that game in 2 days?
No, I'm not surprised at all. We saw what happened against Norwich when we made loads of changes. We saw even what happened in the second half against Southampton. We made a few changes. We just invited pressure, we invited it, and then they scored. And I personally think, you look at the response after the Southampton game, where I say this all the time, but whenever you lose a match or you don't get the result you want, I know we drew. Everyone has to find every single decision was wrong. People make out like just because you didn't get a win that Wan-Bissaka was shit, that Maguire was shit, that every single player was shit, that every sub was shit, that every chance was shit. Like, I think tonight's performance was very similar to that Southampton performance. We made the same amount of chances roughly, we made the same amount of mistakes at the back roughly, but we win 2-0 and everyone's like looking for the good things. When actually, not that I don't think there was good things, but I think it was a very similar performance to the one against Southampton, except we didn't quite invite as much pressure on, but they made decent chances, Palace did, and they had a goal disallowed, very tight as well, but I don't think we made that many more chances in that game. I think we are, like Alex said, seeing those end of season performances where even though we're making chances, we look a bit nervy, and the goals we're scoring are excellent goals. Again,
when you win the league, it's those kind of performances you say are professional, innit?
Yeah.
It's like glass half full or half empty. It's like professional or lucky. Like, which one do you put? And it's like fans will always call it one or the other. But again, you probably say professional for the way we got through that today.
Yeah, it was definitely professional. And again, I think people prescribe the kind of how we played to the result rather than to how we actually played. Because I don't think we were great tonight, but it was a great result, so I don't really care.
Don't care.
Okay, I do think the one difference, especially with Paul Pogba not coming off, I think he kind of had a little bit more quality, a little bit more composure towards the end of the game and just relieved pressure a bit more. I think against Southampton, there wasn't that person that had his foot on the ball, played it out from the back, playing quality balls, whereas Pogba was doing that all game. Again, he didn't have his best of games, but you always knew that De Gea could find him, or Maguire or Lindelof could find him. He was going to put his foot on the ball and usually find somewhere else, or at least put it into the right area, whereas playing it to Fred, playing it to McTominay, you're not sure of that.
When world-class players aren't having their best of games, you can still beat Crystal Palace. Whereas, exactly, like Bruno and like Paul and,
Are they mates, are they?
Bruno, I call him Big P, but you call him what you want. But Paul Pogba, when you've got players like that on the pitch, obviously we didn't beat Southampton, but still 8 times out of 10, even if they're not having their best of games, you're still going to get goals, you're still going to get chances, you're still going to win matches, and that's the difference with this team at the minute. This wasn't a great performance, but when you've got top players having a sort of a bit of an off day, you can still win matches.
I've had this weird thought. Imagine if Ali just completely shocks all of us and plays his usual FA Cup side on the weekend.
Or the youth.
Like, just Romero and Delo and...
I mean, Do you know what? It'd be one of them where you can just see him. It's going to be so many Solskjaer with his sunglasses on memes after when we beat him with the second team. I would be shocked if he did that, but I'd love it if he did. It'd be funny, wouldn't it? If he played that team and won, I'd love that.
I think Fred and McTominay have a chance of starting together at the weekend.
I'm genuinely
against
think we
the big
could
team.
see Pogba or someone resting.
Yeah, so do I. I think that, against the bigger teams this season, that midfield three of Fred, McTominay and Bruno has done well. And I think that he may go back to that. It gives Matic a bit more rest in his legs for the big games coming up next week. Gives Pogba a little bit of a rest, and he can still come on and do something. But it's different. It's going to be different to see a team want the ball against us. We've not had that since after lockdown.
And here's another thing to look out for. Surely Fosu Mensah ain't starting 2 games in 3 days after
Absolutely
not
is.
playing in 3
I don't think we
years.
see him again until the last second leg.
Yeah, exactly. But that means one of them two's got to be back fit, and they were both not even in the squad today.
The way Ali spoke about him before, I think if we didn't have a game on the weekend, one of them started today.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, he said he was downplaying those injuries one and then left them both out, so maybe they'll be both fit for the game at the weekend.
Fingers crossed. Top 4 still happening?
Yeah, there was a must-win game tonight. It was a bigger game than it sort of feels like now because it was again, it wasn't that comfortable, but it was a bit more comfortable than I was expecting. And it's easy to sort of go, well, it was a huge game. So yeah, top 4 still on, obviously.
Agree.
Cheers, boys.